So let's see, raise your hand if you would like to be oversubscribed and have more patients than you know what to do with. Excellent. And raise your hand again if you think you would like to earn perhaps 5, 10, 20 more times what you're earning at the moment. Yeah? So would you say it's fair that you've used certain strategies to get you to where you are today? Certain marketing strategies, perhaps referrals, word of mouth, a little bit of Facebook, website. Would you say it's fair that those have got you to where you are? But if you want to get to where you want to be, to earn that 5, 10, 20 times more, and to be oversubscribed, would you say it's fair that perhaps you need to do different strategies? Yeah? Yeah. So, to put it bluntly, and I will be blunt, sorry, if you don't make the time now, in this marketplace is so competitive. I mean, I first opened my first aesthetic business 10 years ago, and it was a lot different. Who was around 10 years ago? You know, you pretty much did open your doors and they would come, almost. Today, the marketplace is very different. You know, we all know that people are more and more leaving the NHS. And why not? You know, who wants to have a day filled with sickness and, you know, illness? Why wouldn't you want to be in this wonderful industry? But if you don't make the time now to truly master the business side of your business and the marketing, will you be one of the two? It used to be 1 in 3. And I'm reliably informed by one of the UK's leading entrepreneurs, Nigel Botterill, that last year's figures said it was 1 in 2 businesses that failed. Now that's not just because, you know, we don't know what we're doing, but more and more after the recession, we're recovering now. You know, would you say this year is getting a bit easier, a bit busier? But more and more people are opening up businesses, aren't they? So of course that means that more and more are destined to fail, unfortunately. So your survival as a business owner relies solely on your ability to attract and retain enough of your ideal high-spend patients. Clinical skills aside, obviously, I'm not here to talk to you about that. So that's a given, but it's your business and marketing skills that are essential. So today's patients, the world's changed, you know. If you think of the buying journey, how it was 5, 10, 20 years ago, what did we do? We looked in the paper, we perhaps sent off a stamped address envelope. You know, we didn't have the options that we have today. Today we're overwhelmed by choice. Who spends hours looking for a hotel? Trying to look at all the reviews and work out where to go, and, you know I do. Who spends, you know, time looking at restaurant reviews? You know, Daniel pointed out that restaurant in Notting Hill. You would want to go to that restaurant simply because there's a queue. So your patients are looking online. You need to be in those 7 places. You need to have those 11 touches. They're looking for that social proof to see what others are doing. And they are more discerning, you know, they're becoming a lot more, you know, they want more from you, don't they? Not just more for their money, but they want more from you. They've got more choice, and at the end of the day, they'll vote with their feet. If you're not giving them a compelling patient experience, and if you're not showing them how much you care. Do you know one of the biggest reasons why people leave a business, why they don't return to, you know, a restaurant or whatever it is, to your business? Do you know the biggest reason?
Bad experience.
Bad experience, yeah. But it's actually... Go on.
Lack of personal connection.
Yeah, lack of personal connection. But the biggest reason is perceived indifference. They didn't feel that you cared. They didn't feel that you were bothered. And that's the businesses that aren't following up. They've not got systems in place to keep in touch with their clients regularly. They don't show their care. They don't put a ring fence around their loyal clients and really bring them into their club and make them feel special, valued and wanted. And if you don't feel that connection, if somebody's shining a lovely, nice, bright toy down the road and they're offering something different, whatever that difference might be, price or a new treatment, if they don't feel you care, chances are they'll probably try somewhere else. So you've got to do everything you can to prove that you do care. Apologies, by the way, if some of the slides look a bit out. I think we just had a few technical difficulties with the... Anyway, you'll see. So, by a show of hands then, let's see. Who thinks their marketing at the moment just isn't producing a return on investment? You're just spending money on things that isn't working and you're not sure why. Show of hands? Yeah, couple? It's all right. We're in a safe environment. You're allowed to be honest. I won't tell anyone. So who feels there's too much competition? Fed up of local price wars? A few little hands? Yeah. And what about feeling out of your depth, particularly when it comes to... Yeah, this is a big one. Mark. There's Mark Bug can help at the back there if anyone is out of their depth. So it's, it's a massive, massive one, that one. It's almost like you get... analysis by paralysis, you don't know what to do, so you end up doing little or nothing, or you try a little bit of this, see if it works, try a little bit of that, but there's no sort of real plan about what's really going to make an impact. Who just feels overwhelmed in general about marketing and about what works? Yeah, oh, I'm helping you. And who feels that their business could be more profitable? Who wants to be oversubscribed? Every hand should be up in this, yeah. Excellent. And if any other frustrations and pains that people want to share, or would you say those sort of summarise some of the main points? Anything else?
Lack of education, small town practice.
Yeah.
An awful lot of people still think that really is only what stars do, or what...
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. You are right. Yeah, the lady was just saying a lot of people think it's still what the stars have, isn't it? It's the education, and we're all in the business of educating the patients. I'm in the business of educating my clients, and you guys are in the business of educating your patients about why you're the best choice. So... Now, 10 years ago, as I say, I did have an aesthetic business. I didn't do the injecting. I'm not a medical professional. I did the business, the marketing, the accounts, the admin, the bookings, the finance, everything you could think of. I had a team of practitioners that worked for me. One of them I'm still in business with today. But the bottom line is, I made all the mistakes that we all make in the early days. I learnt the hard way, even though I bought a franchise and we were meant to have the support. We did to a certain extent, but we didn't have the branding. We didn't have that recognition in terms of when you buy a franchise, that needs to be a name on the high street. We didn't have that. But 10 years ago, it was easier. You could, open your doors and they would come. And we didn't have the easier world today of the internet and social media to promote and market our services. So I fell into the usual traps. All the phone calls from all the magazines and the newspapers, all wanting you to spend thousands of pounds on putting an advert in. And in reality, if your prospective patients happen to pick up the magazine or the paper, at the time they happen to be thinking of having a treatment, is it really going to grab their attention? Chances are they're either having a treatment elsewhere and they're happy, or they're brand new and you're not even on their radar yet, they're not even thinking about it. So I did waste a lot of money on traditional advertising. I didn't go down the radio route or the billboard route, but I do know people that have and have wasted a lot of money. It was like throwing mud at the walls, hoping some of it would stick, because I didn't know what I was doing. So I just, again, learned the hard way. Does this work? Try a bit of this. Does that work? Try a bit of this. And I didn't test, measure, monitor, any of it. Luckily, we were busy. We were really busy. But it was all kind of hope marketing. It wasn't really, there was no strategy there. So since then, I've learned that, you have to master the ability to find and keep enough of your clients, otherwise you're not going to be in business in a year, 5 years' time. And if you don't master those skills and you don't work out what you're doing, why your patients are coming to you, what made them choose you, what will make them stay, and what will make them return and refer, then you are kind of bumbling along. So, if anyone feels like they're bumbling along and kind of just getting through each day because you're so busy doing the doing, You know, that's natural and that's normal, and you know, people I talk to every day, we all go through that, but you have to take the time out of your business to work on your business. So, why don't you have enough patience? Has anyone got any ideas? Here's my reasons. This is what I see every day when I talk to people in the marketplace. I ask questions. I think the number one reason, you know, particularly if you're a new business, and I'm sure in the room we've got a mixture of new and established businesses. In fact, let's just do a quick show of hands. Who's been going sort of less than 6 months? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, right. And who has been longer than a year, 2 years, a bit more established? So good mixture. In reality, I think whether you're new or established, if people don't know you exist, obviously you're not going to be found. But the other side of that is they know you exist, or they've seen your clinic and they've seen that word aesthetic, but they're not sure exactly what that means. You know, what does that word aesthetic mean to the public? It's not always that obvious. I've heard all sorts of names that people have called their businesses, but it needs to be obvious to the client. We are an anti-aging medical cosmetic clinic, whatever you call yourself, make it obvious so they know that word aesthetic means something to them. You've got to talk to them. They're not clear on why they should come to you as opposed to going elsewhere. That's a big one. So all they can see is that you're the same as everyone else. Your website looks the same. You're using the same old stock images. It's blue and white. You know, they've got no clear reasons why they should come to you. They've already been tempted away by a competitor, whether that was for price, whether that was because the competitor was better at marketing and sales, or better at talking to them in their language. Whatever the reasons, they've been tempted away. They keep hearing their friends raving about another clinical practitioner. So back to social proof and what Daniel was saying, we're pack herds. You know, we will follow what other people are doing. So if our friends are talking about someone else, we'll go and suss them out, won't we? And your patients will do that. You know, we all get distracted by the bright, shiny new piece of equipment or the latest marketing technology, but your patients do that as well. They get distracted by shiny new toy syndrome and they go off and see what else is out there. They don't feel like you understand them. You're not talking their language. That's a really big one. It's all about you on your website. I've been in business for this long. I do this, I do that. It has to be, even on your About Us page, it has to be about what you do for your patients. They don't know, like, or trust you. This is a big one. If anyone's read the book Influence, Cialdini book, anyone read that? Psychology of Influence. If you're not known, like, and trusted, a bit like obviously Daniel's program, the Key Person of Influence, that's all about building that trust, and not everybody is ready to buy now. The journey that people take can be as long as 2 years to actually, from when they're searching online to when they pick up the phone to call you. That journey can be 2 years, and over that 2 years, what are you doing to build that relationship so they remember you when they're ready to pick up the phone? And you're not telling them to take action, whether that's literally in your adverts, you're not putting a call to action on there, something unique that you can track, that's telling them what to do, or you're not actually asking for the sale in the consultation. You're kind of, I'm a healthcare professional, don't want to talk about money. So it's almost like you're asking them to sort of say, yes, I'd like to go ahead, whereas you need to take control of that. And they genuinely, they don't want that new product you're advertising. They don't want the features, they don't want the science. I was talking to a clinic a couple of weeks ago who they just opened up. They had all this lovely new signage and all the lettering in the windows, looks like it's etched on the windows. But it all named all of the equipment that they were using and all the products. It didn't talk about the results, about the treatments, about what they do for their patients. It didn't mean anything to anybody walking by unless they were in the industry and knew whatever that machine was. So you have to really talk to your patients in their language, and The other good one is you've abdicated all your marketing and social media, that says under there. So you've literally said, I'm a healthcare professional, actually don't know anything about marketing, I'm just going to get somebody else to do it, get them to do my social media. But actually, what happens then? It's their take on what you want, it's their take on what your patients want to hear. It's not your take. You've just gone, whoop, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. There you go, you do it. And at the end of the day, if the results aren't coming in, that's because you haven't clearly, communicated exactly what you want, why you want it, and it's not your personality that's coming across. It's just them doing the doing. So it might work, it might not work. So there are a multitude of reasons. We're just going to look at the three biggest ones today because we obviously haven't got time to go into all of them. So from my own personal perspective, working with clients every day, the things I hear about when I talk to my clients and prospective clients, they don't know you exist, they're not clear on why they should come to you, and they don't feel you understand them. So, before we start, if you get your notepads ready to take some notes, just make a quick note of Monday the 1st of June, and all will be clear at the end. So number one then, why you don't have enough patients. So we've already said they don't know you exist. So back to what Daniel was saying, if you think about your own experience as a consumer, we're all inundated, aren't we, with marketing messages, TV, radio, magazines, etc. And we block it out, don't we? We delete those messages. Unless we're in the market for them, we just phase them out. So if you think about that new Telstra that you're getting, that new car you're just about to buy, one minute you didn't see them, next minute they're everywhere, aren't they? But it's the same for your patients. It's being everywhere when they're in the right time frame to make that decision. So it's those 11 touches. So are you where your patients are hanging out, online and offline? If you ever, for those established businesses, if you worked out, have you asked them what social media do they use? Are they on YouTube? What would interest them? If you're not where your prospective patients are, then they're simply just not going to find you. So it goes back to those 11 touches. It can be sometimes more than that. So you've got to think about those articles, those social media posts, those blogs, your Facebook ads, whatever it is, you've got to be where your patients are, not where you think they are. So you need to ask those questions. And if you're an established business, do a survey. Ask them, where do they spend their time? How can you laser target your marketing so it talks to them and they actually sit up and take notice? So you're using poor marketing strategies that just aren't talking to the patient's real needs and emotions, that says under there. This is a biggie. This is all about, when I said about the window that had the descriptions of the machines almost, this is actually the marketing that says, and this machine does this, and it's at this temperature and this frequency and all, the da-da-da-da. You wouldn't go to a travel agent to book a holiday to Mauritius and sit there and listen to a travel agent that said, okay, so we're going to fly you on a Boeing 737 and it's got 200 seats and it will be at an altitude of 33,000. You want the nice, clear, white, sandy beaches, the cocktails, the relaxing, the painting of the picture. So your marketing strategies has to do the same. It's all about the results. It's all about the outcome. It's not about the features, and it's about what the patient wants and their emotions. If you do what I did in the early days, you could be using a spray and pray approach. A few years ago, I worked with a client. He actually signed up after he'd done this, by the way, otherwise I would have stopped him. I tried everything I could. He actually spent, in the first 3 months of business, it was over £30,000 on radio, billboards, shopping centres, magazines, the glossies, all that sort of stuff, throwing mud at the walls, hoping it would stick. And in reality, like I said earlier, you know, if you're a prospective patient, are you really going to listen to a radio advert at the right time when you might be in the market for a treatment? Possibly. Is that really going to compel you to pick up the phone? Leave that to Coca-Cola. Leave that to the brand building. At the moment, you need to be laser targeting your advertising and your branding and your marketing. It needs to be, as I said a minute ago, where the patients are hanging out, not where you think they are or where you think you might grab their attention. Because 9 times out of 10, who really looks at a billboard and then picks up the phone and buys whatever they've seen? I don't. Do you? So, untargeted marketing, so I've spoken about that briefly. What this really means is the targeted marketing you can do today is where your patients are searching. So you need to do some proper Google searches, find out exactly what people are looking for, what they're searching for in your area, not what you think they want. Or if you're thinking of introducing a new treatment, not what you think you want to bring in. Ask your patients what they want. And then target the marketing. So the most useful forms of targeted marketing today are Facebook ads and Google AdWords. So one of the UK's leading marketers, I don't know if anyone's heard of Chris Cardell, he's a very aggressive marketer, but he knows his stuff, multi-millionaire business owner. He said Facebook ads are today where Google AdWords were 10 years ago. So, and he's made millions from Google AdWords. So you need to find out where your patients are and target the marketing. And it's all about you. Not all about you, sorry, it's all about your patients. So even on your About Us page, you have to talk in your patient's language. So we've been established for 5 years. What that means is we come with a wealth of expertise, which means you will be cared for in this way. This is our patient promise. This is how we treat people. You know, if you know that your competition is ushering people in and out on a conveyor belt, or they're keeping people waiting, or they're treating them like a commodity, or whatever they're doing, find out what your competition are doing well, find out what they're doing badly, and then you communicate what you do that makes a difference in the minds of the patient. So if they are treating people like they're on a conveyor belt, and it's all about the ego and it's not about the patient, then you talk about that, not in a direct way, there's subtle ways of doing it, but in your language, in your marketing, and you say, here's our patient promise, you will always be seen by this doctor, you will not be kept waiting for more than, you won't be kept waiting. If you are, we'll give you this or whatever. This is how we treat you, and if you know that you can hand on heart consistently provide that compelling patient experience every time, and that you have measured it, monitored it, everybody's doing it, then you can create replicas of you, so the business isn't just reliant on you. You've got systems in place, you can create a mini-me, and then patients will come to you, because not only are you talking their language, but you're doing it in a way that matters to them. And it's got to be, Daniel said it earlier, it's all about the client, it's all about the patient. You've got to treat them so well and put that ring fence around the real special ones and just keep them there. So for those of you that aren't sure about what marketing strategies work the best, that's a massive, massive bit of confusion for a lot of people. The key is test small, spend small, see what works, measure it. If it works, brilliant, try more of it. If it doesn't work, try something else. Perhaps just focus on no more than 3 at a time. If you're confused about social media, master 1 or 2 first, Facebook and Instagram. Then get your head around everything else. But find out where your patients are first before you do that. And then, like I said, spend small, test small, fail small. Doesn't work, move on. And ask your patients how they found you, what made them come to you, why are they still with you. That's all an important one to know as well. So perhaps you're relying on hope marketing and referrals. Who's relying on hope marketing, kind of like bumbling along and hoping that you might get some more clients through the door? You don't have to admit a thank you, somebody admitted to that one. We've all done it. Referrals, if you haven't got a system in place that says, Mrs. Patient, part of the way we grow our business is through word of mouth. This is how it works. This is what you get. This is what we do for your friends and family. Here's the system. This is how we thank you. Da, 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 da. Whatever it is, you need to have a system in place. So don't just rely on hope marketing for everything that you do. And if you don't know where to start, you end up doing little or no marketing. Would you say that that's about right? You're too busy doing the doing. Do we end up not really getting around to it? Yeah. So, worse still, actually, you don't spend any money on it. Now, there are free ways of building your business, but they take time. And that's social media, that's blogging, that's writing, that's getting out there, that's getting known in your local business community, getting known in the local businesses that have the same target market as you. Whatever it is, you can do it without money, but it takes time. And at the end of the day, that time is your money, isn't it? So if you can, I know this is hard for new businesses, we've all been there, but you need to spend money on marketing. Now, I always say it's ideal if you can spend 20% of your revenue. Ideal 30%, but anyway, you can't make bread without flour. It might take you just a bit longer. So, 6 to 12 months of lots of hard graft if you genuinely haven't got a budget to do so. But the key is, as I say, spend small, test small. You can spend £2-3 a day on Facebook ads, see what works, see what doesn't. So number 2, they're not clear on why they should buy from you. So can you categorically state 3 reasons why you're the best choice over your competitors? If you don't have clear differentiators about why patients should choose you, what do you do better than anyone else? What do you do differently to anyone else? And what do you do that no one else does? If you can't clearly state that, which I know is difficult in the early days, you're not going to be able to stand out from the crowd. You could be then just throwing mud at the walls with your patient, hoping some of it sticks. So find your niche. What are you going to be known for? What are you really good at? What are you going to build your brand on? And everybody says on their website, provide a great service. But in reality, as a consumer, when was the last time you really had a great service and felt special? If you're hiding behind your logo, if you're not the human on your website, if there's no videos of you, even if that's uncomfortable for you, it was when I first did mine, 32 takes. But, just get used to it. You've got to be the human behind your brand. And if your website looks the same as everybody else's, how are you going to stand out from the crowd? If you're not using patient testimonials, how are you going to stand out from the crowd? They'll be looking for those. And if your branding and marketing isn't congruent with who you are and who you want to attract. And you don't give visitors a reason to start and develop the relationship. So I said about the 2-year thing. What are you doing? What's your cheese? What are you dangling? Not just a newsletter or a 10% off. What's your thing? Mine's a 100-page free report. I give that away. I give lots away. What are you doing? What's your skincare guide? What are you doing? What's your cheese? So that people sign up to your newsletter, to your articles, to your blog, and they hear from you every week or every 2 weeks. For you, and then they make a decision 2 years down the line because you built that relationship with them. Don't catch price-itis, and we'll talk about that more another time because I'm actually running out of time. I do apologise. The number 3 biggest one is patients feel like you don't understand them, and this is really a big one. So you may know the patient, but do you really know what they're thinking? In reality, most of you have never been a full-paying patient before, so how can you stand in their shoes? And what are they really buying? If you think back to the 30s, Charles Revson, the founder of Revlon, said, in the factories we make cosmetics, but in the drugstore we sell hope. You're selling confidence, hope, everything, Does your marketing reflect that? And again, just as Daniel said, people buy what they want, not what they need. We don't need that 10th pair of shoes. We want it, ladies. So we need it, yeah, Victoria. So decisions are quickly reached with emotion and then justified with logic, and that's buyer's remorse. But do give your patients what they want and always sell the outcome, not the features. Always the outcome, the results, the transformation, the benefits, in a way that matters to the patient. and use that patient-focused language that talks directly to them. So I'm just going to flick through right to the end. Just think about what value-added extras can you add to your business. Don't discount, add value. What else can you do that's going to keep them coming back to see you every month, not just every 3 months? And how are you going to ring fence your loyal brand advocates and keep them loyal? And how are you going to stay one step ahead of your competition? So knowledge, as we all probably know, knowledge is useless without action, isn't it? We could all sit here today and make loads of notes, but if we don't do anything, nothing's going to change. So if you do genuinely want to change enough, get enough of your ideal patients and more of them returning and referring, then if you have liked what you've heard so far, then from the 1st of June, I'm holding a masterclass of business and marketing online. So this is all focused on results, implementation, not just the knowledge, but actually getting on and doing it. So for anybody that does want to secure their place, before midnight on Monday, you've actually got £100 off, so it's £195 instead of £295. So you just sign up at PamUnderdown.com. And I'm here all weekend at stand D27 if anybody would like to, come and chat further. I appreciate I've rushed towards the end of this. So the one thing I want to leave you with is your survival in business relies solely on your ability to attract and retain enough of your ideal patients. So clinical skills aside, you have to master the business and the marketing side of your business if you want to be, successful, and you don't want to be one out of two businesses that will fail this year. So, thank you. I hope you all found that useful. If anybody has got any questions, I'll be around afterwards, or as I say, come and see us at the Aesthetic Business Network at stand D27 and in the Business Hub. And thank you all for your attention. Thank you.